Out of executive session
So moved.
by Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor, signify by saying aye. And
Aye.
Opposed, carries. On executive session on item A was tabled. Item B, do I hear a motion to accept the counteroffer of $7,554 for the easement?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, item carries. On item C, D, H, and I, do I hear a motion to acknowledge report of council and proceed along the terms and conditions as discussed?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides. Do I have a second? By Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, item carries. Item E, do I hear a motion to authorize, acknowledge report of council and to authorize the negotiating? Sorry? Possible settlement. Yeah, and possible settlement, negotiating possible settlement? Motion by Commissioner Hernandez. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Benavides. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, item carries. On item F, do I hear motion to acknowledge report of council and authority to appeal?
So moved.
By Commissioner Gatsa. Second by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item G was tabled and not discussed. If we can go back to item Q, discussion of 2013 legislation and possible action pertaining thereto. This is regarding to a couple of bills that Commissioner Benavides
Senate Bill
brought up.
1574 and House Bill 2623.
Okay, what would you like to do?
I would like to move to approve support of these bills.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Benavides, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. There's one last item regarding the magistrates. Let me see if I can get to it. Oh, there's a couple of them.
You?
I'm sorry?
You also.
Which one is it?
The magistrates is you.
Discussion possible action to move magistrate court out of the Cadizales Detention Center. Who's going to address that? Who's going to talk about that?
Gus? Mike?
Mike?
Are you speaking here, Judge, of the executive session item?
Yes.
Okay, that would just be a motion to acknowledge a report.
Well, we've already
No,
done
no,
that
this is the
one.
action item. You, 3U.
Okay, okay.
Mike?
I guess the question is going to be, Mike, what options do we have, we as a commissioner's court? What is it that you think we can do in the next 30 days?
I think we can work at moving the habeas corpuses back downtown to any courtroom,
Any JP?
any,
Or
anywhere.
court? Okay.
Because we have that transportation anyway on a daily basis. We transfer it.
So it wouldn't cost more money to bring those prisoners back and forth?
Sometimes, where it is now at Carrizales, we have to bring them from downtown to Carrizales to have habeas corpus hearings. So, yeah, it actually would.
So would that solve the
That'd
security
solve the
issue
hab-
that you're talking about?
On the habeas side, yes.
Okay, what else can we do?
Okay, on the magistrate side, we can get with the jail standards and tell them that those hearings will be held outside on a video screen. So it's, we don't have a problem with the magistrate in there, in the building. We just can't start bringing in everybody else.
So the habeas is really the big issue?
The habeas is a big issue, yes, sir.
So, but is there a problem with the judge coming in and doing magistration
The
there?
judge, the JPs were doing that. That's fine. We can control that. But when you start bringing in more lawyers and more folks in off the street,
So if we move the habeases to the courthouse, then everything else is all right for now?
if we can get everyone to abide by, they're going to have to go outside and watch it through the video screen. And
Who's everyone?
whoever's in that case besides the magistrate, the inmate, whoever's involved in that
Tito,
case.
can you enlighten us a little bit on this?
Besides the accused and besides the judge, if there's anyone else?
Actually, they do it from his office if you want, because Judge Hernandez got it written up that way, so she can do it from her office.
Well, but I think the judge here believes that might not be legally viable or shouldn't be done that way.
Mr. Garza has also had done some research on it. I know he wanted to address the commission as well, or the court as well. You're going to have storage capacity, which we do not have. And it's going to have to be kept and I believe this pertains to the habeas as well, it's going to have to be kept through the duration of the case. So that means
The
it's
recording has to be saved to the magistration.
through appeal. Okay, so we're talking potential years, right? Especially if it's a capital murder or something, you know how those can take 10, 15 years. You're going to have to, and he can address it better than I. Let me just let him talk to it.
Well, originally, Judge Edelstein did get a grant for video, and she set it up. We tested it out a couple of times, but when it came time to use it, she only wanted to use it in emergency situations or when she felt threatened by somebody in the courtroom. What happened was we didn't have enough capability on the T1 line, and we weren't able to record it for posterity. So we ended up having to scrap that video project for magistrations.
So then that's out the window.
That's out the window.
And for all intents and purposes, I don't mind doing habeases here. I mean, if that's the issue, it would have been nice if someone would have come to me and I would have worked it out where we did habeases here, but it will cause some logistical issues because the attorneys are still gonna have to have access to their clients. And, you know, if the sheriff's department is willing to do that, well then.
They are willing.
Then we have no problem with that, and I'll certainly accommodate. As I said, the last meeting I was here on some other issues, I'm willing to work with anybody if they'll come to me. It's something we could have worked out. If we need to do habeas this year,
Is there a problem for your schedule doing them on Fridays versus Thursdays?
it's just not my schedule.
Well, no,
The answer to your question is no.
The reason I ask is Friday might be an easier day in the afternoon to get a courtroom for habeas that you're always going to be able to rely on without having to wonder, where am I going to go today?
Well, the answer to your question specifically, no. It's not a problem for me. However, it's just not my schedule. There's the DAs that are there. There's staff that's there. There's a lot of other people. For me personally, not an issue. I would assume that we wouldn't necessarily need a full-blown courtroom to do it. I mean, they could stick us in the jury room or something.
And you need a court reporter as well.
And we do need a
Right.
court reporter, and that's
they're
another
there
logistical.
at the courthouse, right?
Well, they are, but they're not assigned to us. We get.
It's not the rover that does it?
Yes, but on Friday they have juvenile issues, so it's all been. It's going to just.
Okay.
Can we do it? Yeah, but we're talking about undoing a lot of stuff.
Well, my only concern, well, maybe central jury room, if nothing else. And my only concern is so you have a consistency with what courtroom you're going to use.
You're going to need bailiffs as well. You're going to have to assign bailiffs to them because you're having potentially dangerous criminals who have committed capital murder standing in the middle of a courtroom that's unsecured. And we only did that because we had the jail guards with us.
But we have bailiffs at the courthouse,
You'd have to
security
get
that'll
them to
handle
work
that.
Friday and stuff like that.
They're there till 5, aren't they?
On Fridays, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's that logistical thing. I'm unaware of any security issues. I don't know what went on in executive session, but let me tell you that in September of 2010, when I started doing habeases, we would get a court docket of probably 80 to 120 every Thursday, and that was a logistical nightmare. That was a lot of defense attorneys coming in and meeting with their clients, as they're allowed to do, and then coming before the judge and either getting a bond reduction or a PR bond or being detained in jail. Currently, we have it down to 24, and we do a lot of that over the phone. We have maybe 4 attorneys who want to visit with their clients and come in and then visit with the judge and ask for a bond reduction or a PR bond or you know, whatever else they want to ask for. We do not have habeas examination trials in the courtroom because we're not allowed to bring civilian witnesses into the facility. So we hold those in a county court, and we schedule those for a later date, like on a Friday, when we make all the arrangements for the bailiff, the court reporter, the judge, and the defense, and the DA to be there at that time.
One other consideration I think also is with direct filing around the corner, that should reduce the amount of habeas hearings we have as well, shouldn't it?
I don't think so. I think that these people are legitimately seeking a bond reduction, and that's their right. We have worked out a situation where the defense attorneys meet with me, and if I can come to an agreement with them, we do. And that's what's reduced
Most of 'em.
the most of the docket. But the ones that we're talking about, the ones that go before the judge, are usually the 3G offenses.
The heavier
The
crimes.
the heavier crimes, which you don't want to be transporting those people around.
And one last thing, just from a matter of efficiency, I mean, we'll do whatever we need to do, but for example, Mr. Garza talked about the 24 that we have today. Of those, I don't know, 4 or 5 lawyers will show up, and some will obviously represent multiple defendants, and not every one of those will want to visit with their client. Just a small percentage of them will want to visit, but if we move it, which sounds like what y'all are inclined to do, we're gonna have to transport all 24, because they're gonna have to have the option of visiting with their client. As it is now, if a lawyer shows up and he hasn't told us he wants to visit with his client ahead of time,
The client isn't brought out of the,
Well, he
So-
can be if we need to, because
Right.
we're at that same facility.
right, but he typically isn't brought out, is what you're saying.
That's correct.
Correct. Yeah, but now, we're gonna have everybody there. And so it's gonna be logistical. Can we do it? Sure, not very efficiently, but we can do it. I mean, there's a solution to the problem, it's just not a cheap one. Whatever you. What's the solution?
keep it where it is, that'd be my solution.
For the habeas?
Yes, sir.
And you said if the timing was arranged, Mike, is that what you said? See, the problem is that.
The court wants to run around our schedule. We don't have bailiffs. We don't have staff assigned to us to get this done.
What's the solution that we can work
We
mutually?
can, first of all, the state's not going to allow us to continue there, in my opinion. Second, the sheriff's order was for them to move in 30 days because he does not want to be in noncompliance. The third issue is,
Even though he's been in noncompliance for 8 years.
well, because we've been telling them we were going to build a courthouse for the last 14 years, and we've never done it.
Promising.
Yes, it's contingent
And we
upon
will
us.
someday, Mr. Leinert, we
Well,
will.
okay, but in the interim, I mean, I would like to invite the court to see where this is. This isn't a release area. This is an area where inmates are supposed to be released. We have to stop what we're doing in order for them to carry on their function. We have-
Is there a way to accommodate the habeas hearings now if they were worked around a particular time that you have?
Saturdays, Sundays, in the evening after 7 when the
Any
inmates...
day in the evening after 7?
Yeah, any day in the evening, because that's when the volume of our work is down. We moved the federal inmates over. We got to change the logistics of what we're going to do and how we're going to accomplish our mission. We have to do that first. The courtroom is secondary to us. I mean, that's not part of our mission. It's part of the court's mission to carry that out. Unfortunately, it's in our hallway where we have to do business.
Thank you.
Well, and then, of course, the issue with that is, and like I said, I hadn't heard a complaint before today, but obviously I'll take him at his word that that's an issue. But the problem with moving it to evenings and Saturdays and whatnot is again, a staffing issue. We have to have court reporters who are going to be at the habeases. I have to have additional staff. I've already come here and asked you for additional staff. It's logistically difficult, so.
Well, the other option would be just eliminate the magistrates and give all this stuff back to the JPs.
That's an option.
That's another option, and that doesn't cost us any money. It saves us money. I'm not recommending that,
But
but,
then
but
you're
there's
gonna
just a lot of options out there that we can do that we're not fully. Let me ask legal a couple of questions. Who is responsible for the assignment of building use? Generally.
Commissioners Court is the executive body.
Sir, can't hear you.
The Commissioners Court's the executive body that handles building accommodations, assignment of office space, that sort of thing.
But it doesn't apply to a jail, right? 'Cause
Well, there's an overlay of regulation. Yeah, you furnish a jail, okay? In fact, it was you guys that decided years ago to build the jail that we have now, okay? That was your decision. I'm sure you consulted with the sheriff at the time to kind of get a feel for what he needed. But as long as you prevent...
But once a jail is built, basically, my understanding has always been, once a jail is built, the sheriff is responsible for the operations of that jail
And security.
and security,
Yes,
and who goes in and who goes out
yes.
of the jail. Does that extend over to the administration building? The sheriff's administration building?
There's
Or
no
just strictly-
jail aspect, there's no jail overlay to the administrative building, with the exception potentially of the evidence locker and whatever secure investigative areas. And that's not a jail issue, that's a sheriff's operations issue, okay? So, in other words, what I'm trying to say is in the administration building, if his needs to operate confidentially and preserve evidence are preserved, then there's some flexibility in terms of how that space gets assigned, if that's what you're asking me.
Yeah, is there any room in the administration building to set up a magistrate court?
That's where their offices are now.
No, but I mean in that main building?
You mean in the sheriff's office or the jail administrative?
Where I went in?
In the sheriff.
Where you went in is the sheriff's office?
Correct.
Yes.
Well, not yet.
Yeah.
But do you have any room that could you add something adjacent to it? Could you move people temporarily? Could you do something to make an accommodation for them to do this while we resolve this?
We're at capacity, Judge. Our offices are full. We're full, completely full.
As a matter of fact, we're doing functions because our training office is the magistrate's office. We gave that to them. And we're not, look, we're not here, no hard feelings or anything, Magistrate Cordova.
Business
but
is business.
Yeah, it's business, and the sheriff gave me my marching orders, and that's what I'm here to do. To answer Mr. Hodges' question, or to expound on it, there's an approved security envelope that the jail standards approved. So within that security envelope is our security function, and it says that you can't have any other function in that. They're all for magistrate. You build all the magistrates' courts you want, but make sure they're outside of the security envelope. And we've been playing to that for a number of years.
Is there a problem with pretrial services continuing to be in there?
Pretrial services assist us
So
tremendously.
they can stay in there, that's not a problem.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's like border patrols in there, because they're pretty much essentially just like everyone else. I
Is there a
guess.
problem with them having office there?
We don't have office space. We have our own supervisors that don't have an office, and they need their office space. So,
where they're at now, what did that used to be?
I'm sorry?
What used to be in the office where they're at now?
Well, I had my commanders, my lieutenants, my sergeants, but, the magistrate's court and the pretrial release, if we, for whatever reason, at one point we gave them a lot of space, but we were out of space. I mean, we need our own office space.
Because we haven't added to your supervisory staff that I'm aware of, and so there's not new staff, and everything's been working all right for how many years, Kevin? How many years have you been over there? 2009. So like 3 years. So, I mean, would there be a problem not disturbing that component of it?
No, and there never was. I mean, way back when I was booking in 1990, 91, pretrial would come in and say, who's here today? As a matter of fact, with the Odyssey system, that you'd be able to do it from your house or you don't have to come into the jail to find out all that information. Once you get the information, you just go have them sign the bond, so.
Kevin, how necessary is you having an office over there for purposes of the
I
function?
understand the point. I can office my staff, I can make arrangements, doesn't matter. And I think I've talked to Mike and the sheriff along with Gus, as long as we have access to the inmates, so we can interview inmates, appoint them attorneys so they can do writs of habeas corpus, do whatever it needs to do to get them out of there.
So having an office there was a luxury for you, not a necessity.
If you want to call it that.
Well, I
But
mean-
I'll tell you what.
It's probably a convenience.
Well, it's a convenience, absolutely, because we have immediate access. Now, of course, we'll have to come in as a visitor and do our thing. We've got laptops we can connect to the county web site and do our business.
Well,
have no problem with
I don't
that.
want to make us less efficient by kind of turning the wheels back a little bit.
As far as I'm concerned, my staff can get in there and do what they need to do. Mike and Gus have always let us operate, at will, and we follow their rules, and so I have no problem with that.
All right,
I have no problem.
then you're out of there.
And with regard to us, I'm not sure I still understand exactly what the issue is aside from security, but our office, as they said, is in the administrative section of it, which I understand from Mr. Hodge is something that you all
We can
maintain
assign.
control. Yes. I
Well,
don't know what would be.
Are they wanting to move your office out or just the hearings out? The office too?
That's what I understood, and what I'm saying is if the office is at the jail, but in the administrative section of the jail, so we could conceivably have our habeas hearings in my office. I mean, I guess if we had to, we would have to make some changes and modifications to the office itself, but that certainly could be done.
Well, and that's outside of the security envelope, so.
As I understand.
It's under the
But
court's.
still within the administrative portion of the building, so you wouldn't have to exit the building, you just have to go through a different security.
Yeah, we won't go through the, I call it purgatory section, where you're kind of in no man's land and then go into the secure section. Okay, so my office is outside that security envelope. As I said, it would require some fixing, but a few cardboard boxes and a couple of milk crates, and we could probably get it to work.
So that would be the cheapest fix for us?
It would be certainly the most efficient fix for now. Now, what ultimately you all do, and it may be the most efficient fix forever, I'm willing to make it work. And if it satisfies their needs, we'll figure it out. It may take us a couple of weeks to get there because it's a pretty cramped little place, but we'll make it work. I mean, whatever we got to do.
The jail standards would have to approve that?
Sir?
The jail standards would have to approve any changes that we do?
Definitely, yeah.
Just for the record, we work really close with the magistrate court. So if some solution is going to get worked out where they might have a space, we'd certainly like to have at least one person there with them.
Well, that's why I asked you, Kevin.
Well, I understand that, but I don't want to make things difficult. What I'm saying is, we have to go, we have to go. We're still going to function, with the permission of the jail staff, just allowing us to go in and do our thing. But if we're going to fix this thing where the magistrates actually have some spot somewhere nearby, we'd like to at least have, room for at least one. I've got a 7-day-a-week operation, so my weekender actually works there at Guy Saturday and Sunday, of course. We're there 7 days a week, like I said, so that space is
Can we?
very convenient.
Can we as a court assign, like Arnold and Hondo maybe to go and evaluate the office space, bring us something next week and look at it? Along with Mike and Gus and whoever else, you guys,
I think it'd be a great idea.
I mean, the DAs, I mean,
But
whoever's
looking
involved.
at
give us-
what? At which building? The
Looking
administration
at where
building?
they're at now.
Within
Which
the
is the-
same jail,
yeah.
but the administration.
Yeah, the administration
part of
building.
the no, not the sheriff's department. The jail. The jail has a section that's just administration. They don't keep inmates.
The part that you went into, Judge, I wasn't there, but I understand
Oh,
the
he
part
went
that
to
you
the
went
sheriff's
into
office.
was the sheriff's office. The other building is the jail, and inside that, there's a little,
Inside where?
inside the jail, there is
But outside the
pre-envelope, security envelope, there's a section where myself and some of the other brass, if you will, have our offices. And that's where they're saying they don't want us to go through that secured section. Well, I don't go to my office, I don't go through that secured section. We have the habeases at a place beyond the secured section, and what I'm proposing is that we do it in my office now, which should satisfy their concerns.
Which is an area we have control over.
Okay,
Correct.
well, let me ask, will it satisfy jail standards?
We have to ask for permission,
They said they're
right?
gonna ask for permission for it.
If the court allows me to call the jail standards and formally ask them if we
Yeah,
can do
please.
that,
Definitely.
I will do that.
Yeah, please do that.
But what are we changing? I've been to that, I know exactly where, I've been there many times. What are we changing as far as the remodeling the office or changing the door? You have to call the jail standards to do that?
That office is designated as an administrative training building to train
so
jailers,
magistrates aren't even
not for a
supposed to be-
courtroom.
Yeah, but we have an office in the sheriff's office that could be used as a training room though, right? We have a
It's
training
a
room.
training
We're talking.
We have a training room.
Yeah, but it's shift change. The officers come in 15 minutes early, and they say, okay, what happened here? Okay, this guy in this cell, he needs his medication. This guy, it's a shift change meeting, training for 15
Oh, it's a
minutes.
shift- it's a
Exactly.
communication.
And we're not using it, we're using their break room for that. So,
Well, you're being efficient.
We've been efficient, Commissioner, for the last 14 years. I mean, we're trying our best.
Is that how long you've been with the county?
I've been with the county longer than that, sir.
Well, you've been efficient as long as you've been with the county, Mike, because I know you're
Not
efficient.
14 years,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah,
More
well,
than
I mean,
14.
14 years since we've built.
Now, my question was, where the magistrate's offices are now, is that what it's dedicated for? Is the jail standards aware that they're there now?
No,
Oh, they're not?
no.
How long have they been there?
They've been there for 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to work with everybody. I
Oh, yeah.
mean, we just built,
No,
I
I know.
mean, we built a courtroom in a hallway is what we did, and said, okay, let's use this until we fix things.
Well, check with the jail standards on this issue and see if that's something that can be utilized.
And that's fine. I mean, we have no problem. We are obviously gonna have to do a little painting and nailing and stuff, but I mean, if that's the case, if they come back and said they approve it,
Yeah, let us know. I just want to adjourn today resolving this, at least getting to where we don't have to bring this back again to,
Again, can we get like Arnold and Hondo to
yeah, I think so. Why don't we
get
get,
with all of you?
to get over there and kind of assess the
Fix it.
the usage of it? If you see anything that can be, offices that can be consolidated and free up an office, I mean, feel free to do that and just come back with a report. Yeah, okay?
I just wanted to add that in the 3 years that I've been there, in the magistrate courtroom, inside the sanctuary of the jail, I've only had to step aside 4 times in those 3 years to allow people who are being released access to the door to the outside.
Okay.
And so it's only been 4 times, really.
All right.
3 years?
3 years.
Pretty good. That's a game changer.
All right, okay. So let me hear a motion then to acknowledge discussion and then proceed along the terms as we discussed, to have Arnold and Hondo to get with all the interested parties and look and do a space allocation or space feasibility. Okay?
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Benavides. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Gatz. All in favor,
And,
signify by saying aye.
hold on. But that's also, if they find a way to fix it, to go ahead and fix it, or do they need to bring it back?
No, they can fix it. As
Okay.
long as-
They wanna fix it,
As
yeah.
long as jail standards and everybody's in agreement. Bring us a report.
Okay.
I'm
On
sorry.
how you fixed it.
I'm sorry, one last thing. There is that bill that's present, and I agree with the judge when he said last time, we'll worry about that point when we get there, but we have that bill that's going to expand our authority,
Well,
So we're-
assuming it passes, right?
assuming it passes, yes, and that's what you said last time, and.
You want to kill it?
No, sir.
All right.
Not yet.
I can kill, I mean, we can kill it. That's not a problem.
Not yet, maybe, but not yet. But we need to keep that in mind too when we go for what we're gonna do a little further down the road on these issues. I mean,
Well, whatever happens with this bill, normally they take effect September 1st.
Yes, sir.
So we
Yes.
have a few months to really
Sure.
look at that. And just make sure you bring, if it passes, bring it back for some discussion and not wait,
It appears from the consensus of the group that we visited with Monday and yesterday.
There
that
shouldn't be an
there shouldn't be
issue.
a problem.
Right,
Okay.
and I guess what I'm concerned is that I'm gonna be caught flat-footed, we all will, because I don't know what that's going to require now in terms of space and things. I mean, when they go see our space, it's going to be small. You'll be surprised that I am conceding to making this a habeas room, and it's no big deal,
Have you
but
seen Pete's office? It's tiny.
Well, and Judge,
He seems
this
to
is,
function well, and David's even tinier.
this is a temporary fix. I
Right,
mean, we
right.
know we have to fix this, but, earlier we're talking about creating a court that's going to require us to invest $1 million just to build the courtroom.
No, I
And
understand
so-
that. I get it, and I understand where you're going, and it was my proposal, so I'm not trying to talk you out of it. What I'm just saying is that we need to kind of look a little bit further down the road. This is a good Band-Aid potentially, but I'm a little concerned that we come to September 1, and then I'm like having people sitting at my desk with orange jumpsuits and things.
Sure. Half a penny, another half a penny, Pete.
I'd say let's go a penny. Why not?
All right, I had a
While we're
motion,
at
a
it.
second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, carries. I think we have one more item.
Which one? H?
Judge, I think there was Justice
Yes.
Sally Gonzalez item, but I think there was also a need to go back to that legislative item.
We already did that. The one
did?
about the 2 bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, we already did that.
Okay, fair enough.
Wake up, Bruce, wake up.
I'm sorry.
All right. Item H, discussion and possible action concerning entry of a Commissioner's Court order, including findings of fact requiring JP Precinct 5, Place 1, and her staff to cooperate in the training for, use of, full implementation, and blah, blah, blah regarding the go-live date. Okay. Bruce, what is it that we need to do on this? Or where's John? Juan?
Well, we have prepared an order, for the court to sign, and that I think all you need in order to get that order underway is a motion to approve the order and have the judge sign it on behalf of the court.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the order and authorize me to sign the order?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Benavides. Discussion.
The only thing I have to say to the Commissioners Court is, and I'm going to quote what Dan Sanchez said earlier, the Commissioners Court needs to provide the courts with the tools to run their office. And as I read the statute, and I've read the statute over and over and over again, I've consulted and I've talked to our legal people from the Texas Court Personnel, or I'm sorry, Justice Court Education Committee, and, y'all are not here, as an elected official, you're here to help us with the tools that we need to run our offices, and we have such tools. And it's very obvious that we have such tools because y'all are very aware of our monthly reports. And the mere fact that we bring $1.2 million to the coffers every year, for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been doing that. And that's to pay salaries of many employees from Cameron County, from a low-budget salary like mine at $45,000 with 38 years of experience with the county, to a high salary of $189,000 that you pay some of the employees in Cameron County. We bring in those coffers. We bring in those money to our coffers. And it's devastating because we're not in a dictatorship. You're not here to dictate to an elected official how to manage our resources. You're here to utilize us on what we can use to manage our resources. And it's very obvious that the program that we use, which costs nothing to this county, absolutely nothing to this county, is being utilized, implemented by professional people. And I say professional people because my staff are tenured people. I have staff that have been with me for 18 years, and Mr. Reyes has discussed this with them in many conversations where, Joe, that my staff can write a program because they're that utilized and that they're professional at their jobs. I mean, we'll utilize the Odyssey program, absolutely, if it's a complete program. If it's a complete program. But by talking to other clerks, and discussing with them what they've been seeing with the Odyssey program, it's going to push us back. It's not going to push us forward. So if it's going to push us back, then I'm going to implement to this court that they give me 2 more staff people and that they pay my staff what they're worth. I have a tenured, certified court administrator that can't even make $35,000. I'm thinking you all really need to look at the whole picture. You all need to absolutely look at the whole picture, because if I'm going to go back down from $1.2 million to the coffers of this county to back to $200,000 and $300,000 to the coffers of this county, in 6 months from now, if that's going to happen, then I want to come back and I want to tell you all, you know what? Let me go back to where we're at. Let me continue utilizing the net data program that's not costing this county absolutely nothing. Just because their sister company does our collections and does a very good job at it, every month they send out thousands and thousands of cards from our office to defendants, and defendants come in, take care of their matters, and they send every single card without using one stamp from Cameron County, not one stamp. I think what you all are doing is ludicrous. I think you're interfering with my duties as an elected official and a very well-elected official for 6 terms. My constituents have elected me to do a job. I am doing it right. I'm doing it professionally. I'm bringing every single penny, because the auditor can attest that every time I have been audited, there has never been 1 cent missing. not 1 cent. And I'm proud of my staff, and I pat them on the back every day that I'm the only court in Cameron County, and that needs to be on record, that has been audited by the Office of Court Administration and is in full compliance. There is no other office. I want it to be on record that I feel that this is a very, very bad judgment call by the Commissioner's Court. I have the right, as an elected official, to choose how to manage the documents and the records in my office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, before you step away, I have a couple questions. You haven't undertaken any use of the Odyssey program. Everything you're going on is by what other people have told you?
I have not used the Odyssey program because I have told Mr. Reyes on numerous times that once it's complete, he's welcome to come in and input it.
Okay, and do you understand that the concept in the JP courts, as far as the complete program, is that the judge needs to participate with Odyssey people in order to get the program customized to your court?
I'll answer this with this. The last week when you all mentioned, Mr. Reyes mentioned that how can we even participate when all that was brought was the shell? You know, it's like the county spent $5.4 million, $5.4 million on a frame, a box. If I'm gonna go buy a $5.4 million frame, there better be a Picasso in that frame. And there's not.
Well, how do you know that, Judge?
Because it's not a complete program. Mr. Reyes said it himself.
Joe, come on up, please. And I just want to make sure everybody's clear on the issues because, you know, the Odyssey guy that was here a few months ago.
And I understand what you're saying. You need my staff to go tell them how to input my thing or my records. I understand that,
Well, let's get it.
Commissioner, with all due respect. But in all reality, when we got the net data program to bring you back to par with net data, all they did was they came in we didn't buy it. Well, we didn't buy because it's free. We didn't buy just a frame. We didn't get just a frame. They came in with a diskette and they said, in 2 weeks, we're going to transition every single record you have, Judge Gonzalez. And in a month, we guarantee you that your office will be running 100%. And it was, and it is, and it continues to.
Well, let me call Joe up. Joe, explain what's needed on behalf of Judge Sally's part and her clerks in order for Odyssey to get transitioned in there.
The data has been migrated over. We need the participation from their staff.
When you say participation, exactly what are you talking about?
We need their help at looking at everything they've inputted to make sure everything's aligned correctly. That
When you say everything, what are you talking about?
If field A is a fee, for example, right? Looking at Judge Sally's data, if that, from one specific case, comparing it to net data to Odyssey, if field A is a fee over here, yes, it's that fee. We
And
need to
that's
make sure
something,
everything aligns.
that's something only they can tell you.
From their court, yes.
And that's to verify that everything that you migrated from their system into Odyssey migrated.
Yes, and migrated correctly. Yes.
Okay, once they do that, what's the next step?
If there's any imperfections, we go back, we clean that up, we make sure everything lines up the way that needs to be done, so that however it looks in the data, everything's correct as it looks in Odyssey.
So this is just the migration of information.
Yes, the data's already in there. We just need to clean it up and align it and modify it.
So that if state traffic fine in net data is in line 3, you look at Odyssey and in line 3 it's state traffic fine,
Yeah,
same
wherever
amount.
state traffic fine
Okay.
is in Odyssey, it's the same information. Yeah.
Once all that's verified, what's the next step?
If we do another data pass, make sure everything is still correct, and on the go live day, everything should be good to go.
So then the program is done. There's nothing that she has to program
No, there's no programming.
nothing that she has to modify or customize for her.
At this point, no, all the forms are in there. All the fee schedules have already been, I want to say, all the clerks have met and they have agreed on the fees, and all the fees and fines are in there. We just need to make sure that the data is represented correctly.
Okay, so the participation you need from her and her staff is just to verify that everything that migrated correctly and the fields are all the same.
Yes.
Once you verify that, the program is ready.
It's ready to keep moving forward. We do little bits at a time because we know everybody's busy and we can't do all that at one shot.
When you say little bits at a time, what are you talking about?
We do one data pass, everybody looks at it. If there's any fields that don't line up, we go back, regather everything, take some time, do another data pass, make sure everything's correct.
Okay, so for example, let's, all the migration of data aside, they open up Odyssey on their window. They have a brand new case, an eviction case. Can they put all that information in there and process an eviction case the way
Yes.
Odyssey stands right now?
Right now, not everything's turned on to go live yet. We're gonna do that till June. But in June 3rd, at that point, yes, they will be able to do that.
Okay, so on June 3rd, without any other requirements from them, that's going to be ready
Yes.
to go live and it's going to work?
Yes,
Traffic cases, civil cases, everything else, they're all going to be ready to go?
yes,
Okay, so all basically that she needs to do is participate to verify the migrated information and then learn how to use the new system.
yes.
Okay, so there's not a matter of her or her staff having to tell you, no, this has to be done this way, or this form's incorrect, or this should be done this other way, or this report's not right.
Correct. We did that many, many months ago.
That's already done?
Yes,
Okay. So basically, when she's talking about what they did last time, getting net data in, and it took them 2 weeks to verify everything, that's what, at this point, that's what you're ready to do with their court?
pretty much,
What
yes.
net data did?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay.
I have some questions and concerns. Are we going to be in control of the forms that are in there? Control of the report as to how it looks and the end?
That's a
Result?
question for Joe, not me.
Because I don't want anybody else manipulating our data.
And that's what's happened with Easy.
Well, I think these are the types of things you find out when you go to the training. I'm not sure. I'll let the deacon respond to that.
Joe brings in the big gun.
Okay.
Man of the cloth.
What was the question
Hey,
again?
Paul.
Hello.
What was the question?
The question that Pat asked was, are the forms going to be manipulated? or
Yeah,
something?
we don't want anybody manipulating our data. We want to be able to look at our data and make sure it's correct. As the forms, we want to use our forms. We don't want to use the forms that are already in there. Are we able to create a document in Odyssey that we use, that we want to use, not the ones that are supplied by Odyssey?
There's a couple of things. The JP courts we had set up some meetings with the various courts, with other courts, and Sally's court, you all have always been invited to these meetings. And Odyssey does offer, you can configure Odyssey to have forms for each individual court if you would like to. And there is a training class for that, if they would like to attend that for creating forms. But the JP courts that did attend these sessions, when we talked about forms and fees and all, they had come to a consensus to have a standardized form that everyone would use. But Odyssey, again, does offer the ability to have forms for that specific court that,
So the forms are available, and if they don't like those and they want to customize their
create
own,
their own,
they
yes.
can do that too?
Yes. That's
Okay.
As long as they meet the minimal standards required of reporting, right? I mean, yeah.
We have all of that. We already have all of that.
And Odyssey does too, correct?
Yes, Odyssey has the monthly forms in there, and the auditor's office has been involved with a lot of these, especially on the financial side and on the OCA side. I mean, if you wanted to look a specific way, that.
I don't think that Odyssey has the OCA documents, because I've been in contact with the Office of Court Administration, and they have told me that they do not have the forms that they approve at the OCA headquarters.
I would need to find out about that.
And that would definitely throw me and every other court
If we can-
continuously being in noncompliance.
Judge and everybody, look.
And that's something that they can do at the training, what
Yeah,
they're
and
discussing.
that's, and I think that that's part of the, we're going to go around in circles, and now I've been sitting here just listening to all the dialogue from the very first time, and what I'm gleaning from all of this is that every time, and I say this with utmost of respect, but, you bring up a valid point, and then, somebody that are doing this say, well, no, we can do this. And then we go, well, how about over here? And how about now the forms? And, and everything appears to be being answered. So I think it's all bull. I think it's all coming around like there's just a wall that just don't want to do it for whatever reason because you're comfortable. Everything, I'm not computer literate, but I know enough about it to know what's going on, that transition is always difficult. You don't always have software that talks to each other perfectly. I do it in my practice. When if I have a different tax software, I've got to go and I'm going from one tax software to another that all the numbers are going over the same way. It's happening here. That's what I see. I don't want to hear anymore. I mean, I think that we've already gone to the point to where, we've decided $5.4 million is a lot of money to spend. And I'm just thinking here, sitting here listening, if we have 31 elected officials wanting to do 31 different things with 31 different softwares, then this is totally out of control. And so we have to have some governance. And that's what we're doing. If it's wrong, then it'll come back. And if we have to eat some crow, then we eat some crow. But I think that at the same time that you have to do everything that you can do to make this system work. I mean, it's a big investment to do, and you're a good producing judge, you're a great public servant, and I understand the respect that you have and the confidence you have in net data. But what I'm hearing so far from everyone is that this Odyssey, it has a lot of bumps, I know, but we're past that. So we need to move forward with this. We need to move it. You need to help make it work. If it doesn't work, if there's something there, I think Paul and Joe and Odyssey combined can fix the problem. That's all. And they're standing right there and saying, hey, we can fix all this, but there's going to have to be some communication with this. I mean, I know how those line 3's got to equal. I understand all that. What they're saying is that you've got to go in and tell them, maybe you didn't have to do that with net data because there was nothing, I don't know how it was implemented. I don't know if it went from another software. Maybe it was an off-the-shelf thing that fits all. I don't know. But we're past that. So we need to move, and, we cannot have different systems running. I'm hearing from our legal counsel that we as a county have to do certain things. Your office may be in compliant, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the county's in compliant.
And they can be if they would follow the same module that we follow.
Yeah, if they all went back to net data.
And the Office of Court Administration, there was a question from Mr. Gonzalez that I directed to Mr. Gonzalez, and I know where you're going. And I had that question answered by OCA, and I directed it to Mr. Gonzalez, where it says, does every county have to be on the centralized collection system? And their answer is absolutely no.
Well, I'm hearing something else.
It's absolutely no, and it's challenging, and it's something that we can challenge, and we can bring the Office of Court Administration people. As a matter of fact, they're having an in-service next week. I invite all the JP courts and clerks to go. We're in compliance.
Weren't you going to bring us a letter, Judge, on that?
I can get Mr. Castillo to direct you a letter, absolutely.
Well, but I think that it's more than this.
And,
Well,
The Odyssey
I think we're
system-
losing a lot of the
The Odyssey
picture.
system is an integrated judicial system that incorporates the jails.
Various components.
That incorporates
And,
the DA's
and,
office.
and the
that
way the
incorpor-
module for the
All
JPs
due respect,
are being written, go ahead.
I mean, we're not talking about a system for JPs. We're talking about a
There's
system
none.
that was developed to integrate the judicial county system.
Which includes
Includes
JPs.
JPs, but it includes all of the other elements, the clerk.
The jail.
jails, the DA's office, all the
The
reporting
district
entities,
court,
I
county
mean,
clerk,
It's not like a isolated
tax,
office. It's
auditor,
an integrated system.
And I'll
Accounts payable.
rephrase
And
what I said.
I want to say.
Emergency
The
management.
5.4 million.
You sound like Forrest Gump.
The 5.4 million was not for your JP system.
for
Absolutely
everything.
not,
It's
and I
for
didn't say
everyone.
that.
I mean, we had the sheriff here a
But
number
they
of
only
times.
bought They only bought a shall when it came to the JP program. That's all that was utilized
but
and
Judge-
given to us.
Again, I wasn't done, you know, I mean, with all due respect to everyone, and this, I'm gonna shut up after this. You know, we had the sheriff in here a number of times totally against this system after he bought into it. As soon as they were trained, now they're referring to the help they're getting from the system. Right?
Right.
You know, I mean, they're working
Rephrase that,
with
because
the officers.
I didn't pick up on that. The sheriff what? The sheriff does not
I already
use the
said what I was
Odyssey
gonna say, and
program.
I'm done, you know. I'm ready to vote.
The
The
great,
sheriff does not use the Odyssey program, only the jail.
well, that is
That
the,
is the sheriff.
that's
No,
the system.
The sheriff's department
Okay,
administration refuses to use the Odyssey program, only the jail. And even the jail people said earlier that they don't like it because they don't even have the fingerprint module on it.
Joe, we're not gonna, this is all over the place,
This
and I
is-
think,
Right, this is, I'm just telling you my point as an elected official. This battle I knew I could not win.
noted.
And,
Noted.
and it'll come back.
But it really wasn't.
I
a-
will
a-
come back.
It wasn't.
I will come back. That's all I'll leave you with. I will come back.
Yeah, that's what Dirty Harry said. No, that's what,
I will come back.
I hope you do.
I will come back and I'll prove each one of you wrong.
And if you do, that's great. I mean, that's the nature of the business. Okay. Paul, Joe, anything you'd like to add? The fingerprint module, I mean, that's another issue, but that's something else? Okay. All right.
So just clear right here, we have a complete program, they're just choosing not to participate.
At this present time, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. The answer was yes. Okay.
It's,
All in,
no. Call the question, Judge.
that's up to him. It's his letter. I had a motion, a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, item carries. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move.
By Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed can stay here. Have a nice Easter, have a nice weekend, and all that stuff. We're done. Hey, what's going on?